You ever stop and wonder how all your favorite apps just work? You know, how they seem to magically talk to each other to get you whatever you need, like, instantly? Well, it's not magic. It's something called an API, and it is the secret language of the internet. So let's dive in and break it all down.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You tap a single button on a travel app, and somehow it seamlessly coordinates with an airline's booking system and a hotel's reservation database all at the same time. How on earth is that possible? It feels like it should be, but it's actually this brilliant piece of tech that acts like a universal translator between all these different programs.
And the answer, believe it or not, is a simple three-letter acronym, API. It stands for Application Programming Interface. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll see just how this simple concept is the key to how our entire digital world is built.
So what in the world is an API? You know, the simplest way to get your head around it is to just picture a bridge.
Okay, so at its core, an API is basically a set of rules. Think of it like a prearranged agreement that lets different software programs talk to each other. It's like a contract that says, hey, if you ask me for information in this exact way, I promise to give you this specific type of answer back. And that predictability, that's what makes it so incredibly powerful.
And this is exactly why that bridge analogy works so well. Imagine your app is sitting on one island, and the data it needs, say from a bank server, is on a completely different island. The API is the bridge that lets the information flow between them. And it's not just an open bridge, it's a secure, controlled, and totally predictable pathway.
Let's make this super real for a second. When you open your banking app, your account balance isn't actually stored on your phone, right? That'd be a huge security risk. Instead, your app sends a secure request through an API to the bank's server. The API then acts like a security guard. It checks your credentials, it goes and grabs only the specific data you're allowed to see, nothing more, and sends it straight back to your screen. It's efficient, it's secure, and it all happens in the blink of an eye.
Okay, so APIs are bridges. Got it. But here's the thing. Not all bridges are built the same way. Depending on the job you need to do, you're going to need a different design. And in the world of APIs, there are two main styles you really need to know about.
So you've got REST on one hand, which is more like a set of flexible guidelines. It's an architectural style. And then you've got SOAP, which is a very strict set of rules, a formal protocol. Honestly, the difference is kind of like having a casual conversation versus being in a highly structured legal proceeding. One allows for some improvisation, while the other demands that you follow the rules to the letter.
So let's break down these trade-offs. REST is all about speed and flexibility. It uses these really lightweight data formats like JSON, which makes it absolutely perfect for the fast-paced world of web and mobile apps. SOAP, on the other hand, prioritizes security and reliability above all else. Yeah, it's heavier, it has very strict rules, but that rigidity gives you built-in security and compliance that are just non-negotiable for big enterprise systems like in banking or government.
So here's the main takeaway. It's not about which one is better. It's about which one is the right tool for the job. REST gives you that speed and flexibility for the fast-moving world of modern apps. And SOAP? SOAP gives you bulletproof reliability and security for those complex, high-stakes enterprise systems.
All right, so we know what APIs are and we know how they talk, but where do these digital bridges actually exist? Where do they live? The answer to that question is a really critical decision for any company. Essentially, you've got two choices. You can go on-premise, where you build and manage every little thing yourself, or you can go hosted, where you let a cloud provider handle all the heavy lifting. It really boils down to that classic trade-off. Do you want total control or do you want total convenience?
On-premise is for organizations that need absolute total control. By managing their own servers, their own hardware, their own software, they have the final say on data security and privacy. And that's exactly why it's the standard in really critical sectors like finance and government. The flip side, of course, is that it takes a ton of internal resources to maintain it all.
Hosted or cloud APIs are pretty much the exact opposite. A third-party provider like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud handles all the infrastructure for you. This means you can scale up or down almost instantly, and you don't have to worry about all the maintenance headaches. It's absolutely perfect for startups and modern tech companies that need to be agile and deploy things really, really fast.
Okay, so we've looked at the API itself, its style, and its location. Now let's zoom in even further, right down to the messages themselves, the actual little packets of data that are crossing that digital bridge. In the modern web, there's one language that has become the undisputed champion. And that language is JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation.
Its whole philosophy is just beautiful in its simplicity. Create a data format that's lightweight, super easy for machines to understand, and, this is the crucial part, easy for a human developer to just read at a glance. That simplicity, that's its superpower.
So why did JSON completely take over? In a word, simplicity. Compared to the older, much bulkier format called XML, JSON is just cleaner and lighter. This means you get smaller data packets, faster transfers, and a whole lot less work for developers. It was the perfect, nimble language for the flexible, fast-moving philosophy of REST APIs.
And look, you don't need to be a programmer to see how clean this is. It's just a simple key-value structure. You have a key, like customer name, and its value, John Doe. It's easy for us to read, it's organized, and it's perfectly structured for sending information back and forth efficiently.
All right, let's pull the camera back out. We've gone from this high-level idea of a digital bridge all the way down to the specific language of the messages crossing it. Now it's time to put it all together.
So think about the journey we just took together. We started with the API as that fundamental connector. Then we looked at its communication style, the flexible REST versus the rigid SOAP. We saw where it can live, on-premise for control or hosted in the cloud for scalability. And finally, we looked at the message itself and understood why JSON is the king of the modern web.
So here's maybe the most important takeaway of all. APIs aren't just a technical tool. They're an economic one. They are the invisible backbone of the entire modern digital economy. By letting all these different services connect and share data, they don't just enable innovation. They literally create entirely new business models and power the seamless digital experiences that we all now pretty much take for granted.
Which leaves us with one last, really fascinating question. If APIs are the bridges that built the digital world we're all living in today, what new bridges are being built right now? What new connections will they create? And what new industries are they going to completely transform next? The possibilities, well, they're pretty much endless. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.